Hey everybody, this is Chris, the old ass retro gamer, back once again. Today I'm going to do another unboxing, and it is for another of the reproductions I've purchased from Timewalk Games, which, as most of you probably already know, they have shut down. They claimed that they were being overworked, and real life needed to be taken care of, and they couldn't focus on making these games anymore. So they decided to shut their doors. And luckily, I was able to order a few games before they shut down. Actually, the last game that I ordered, the one that I'm going to do the unboxing of, I ordered probably like 3 days before they decided to shut down. So I kind of got lucky in that respect. But I'm glad because I did get it at a decent price, because the last month they were open, they discounted a lot of their games. So I got it for a good price. I'm very, very happy about that. And the game in question is the Firemen. It's a game by, I think the company was called Human, and it was released in 1994 in Japan and Europe, and I do believe Australia. We never got it in the States. And one of the things that Timewalk Games was known for was taking games that were never released in the United States and doing ports of them so we can play them over here. They would either take the Japanese games and give them all new translations, do box art, instruction books, everything, just like in that Goonies video, if you guys remember the Goonies. That was a game we never got over here as well. It was only available in Japan, and apparently this game was good enough that they decided to give it its own port. So I'm gonna do an unboxing here. So here's the box that Timewalk Games had made for the game, and it looks exactly like you would expect a Super Nintendo game box to look like. It doesn't have any of the Human company logos on it. Obviously, they replaced everything with things that say Timewalk on it, which is I always find kind of amusing. The back says, "The fire is alive and it's racing straight towards you. A fire has broken out in a high-tech chemical factory where a highly explosive chemical, MDL, is being developed, and it's up to you and your firefighting team to save the people trapped in the building and stop the fire from reaching the MDL, because if it does, the whole building is going to blow. It's an action shooting game with a gripping storyline and 2D overhead perspective. Evade sudden hazards and save survivors, multi-level action, crawl along the ground to advance, and hose the fire from both high and low levels." The reason I purchased this game to begin with was I had seen an episode of GameSack where they were talking about unreleased games, and they brought this one up, and I thought it looked really kind of interesting and fun. I never played a game like that other than like Burning Rangers, but this one you actually use like a hose, or you're playing as like a fireman who's running through a burning building and trying to put out fires and whatnot. So I thought this looked interesting, and plus they had this discounted to like $45 on Timewalk, so I was like, I'm not passing that up. So let's open this up, take a look at the actual cartridge without bending the flap, which I did not yet again. Yay! Take a look at what we have inside. Okay. It comes with a video game box protector sticker and the instruction book that they had made to go along with it, which looks exactly like a Super Nintendo instruction book would look like. Pictures of the characters and everything. Descriptions of the controls. How to use the hose. And, some really fun hints and tips. So, that's rad. That's pretty awesome. Also comes with a poster, which I have never seen before. The other one, it came with a map. It's a little, pixely and broken up because they obviously just expanded the cover art from the game into a poster size, and it looks very pixely and broken up. But from a distance, like right now, I bet you can't even tell that it looks like that. But up close, when I'm looking at it from this distance, yeah, you can tell it's very blurry. But you know what? It's a cool collectible. I think that's pretty awesome. Okay, and now we come to the cartridge itself, which is wrapped. Yes, I smelled it. That is because, as with every other Timewalk game I've ever purchased, they tend to repaint every cartridge that they send out. I don't know why, but they do. You might not be able to tell from where you are, but right here it is extremely dark gray, unlike a light gray color that the normal Super Nintendo cartridges are. So it does reek of fresh paint, which is kind of, I always thought was kind of strange. Every game I've bought for them just reeks of paint, and that's the only downside to them. But yeah, that has a label that they had made that looks exactly like you would think a Super Nintendo game's label would, which is pretty awesome. They even have the label on the back with their Timewalk stamp on it, which I still find amusing. Yeah, let's pop this puppy in and see what it looks like when you play it. So here we go with the Firemen. Pretty cool logo scene. Nice titles. I like the flame effects in the background. And the first thing you'll notice is that the music is very upbeat, very catchy. I kind of like it. So after a nice little story scroll telling you all about the chemical MDL in the building that's on fire and that you need to be extremely careful not to blow shit up, you get into the game. And so the way the game works is you are the main fireman, the chunky one. You have two attacks. You have one which is a full-on hose, and that is for taking out the larger fires. And then you also use a fire extinguisher to take out the small ones. Your little buddy that's with you, he basically is there as backup, and he'll attack fires with his axe and help you put out some of the bigger ones. The AI for him is not bad at all. Actually, he keeps out of your way, which is really nice. There's always really nice effects. There's like nice fog effects, smoke effects. The play control is very fluid, very natural, does not hamper in any way your progress. Sometimes it's kind of confusing where to go because the map that's on top of the screen doesn't exactly tell you where you visited and where you haven't gone. It just tells you where fires are. And I've done a lot of backtracking while playing the game because of this. The graphics are really cool. They're very colorful. Not the best I've seen for the Super Nintendo, but for what the game is, it's serviceable. It works really well. The music's pretty decent, and there's bosses and such too. Basically just different types of fires, and you have to find the pattern like all other games to defeat it, and then you'll progress to the next level. You also get bombs that take out like a large area of fire if you're like overwhelmed or whatever. You have, I think you start with 2 of them. You do have a life bar. I think you can take maybe like 6 or 7 hits before you're done. And there's also a time limit, which I don't understand. But I guess it's just to keep you moving so you don't go around exploring too much. They want you to keep moving forward. Also to give you like a little bit of tension, you know, oh my god, the fire is gonna explode the whole building if you don't, you know, put everything out on this specific floor when the time limit ends. I bought the game basically because the people on GameSack were talking it up, and they made it sound really cool. And I like the idea of playing as a fireman. But I was kind of like, well, it's going to be very one note. You know, there's not going to be much to do. It's just, oh, put out fire, put out fire, put out a fire, put out a fire, put out a fire. Yeah, that's what you're doing, but there's a variety of different types of fires that you can put out. I mean, like, basically, it's like different types of enemies. You have ones that go straight for you. They have ones that go in different patterns. You have ones that shoot out in 4 directions. You have to remember what that flame looks like in order to progress. And it's not a bad game at all. I am actually very pleased with it. I'm happy that I now own it. So if you want to get my my honest review, I'm saying right now that if you can find a copy of it now that Timewalk is no more, I highly recommend picking it up. It is a unique game, action game. I highly recommend it. So there it is, Firemen for the Super Nintendo by Timewalk Games, the last game from Timewalk Games I'll probably ever own. But for the most part, it is a damn good game, and it's really sad that we never got this over here. I mean, it's kind of a shame. And from another perspective, I'm now really even more upset that I can't get more games from Timewalk, because if, you know, this is one of the lesser games that they had to offer. Can you imagine the other stuff they had? I remember there were so many games I wanted to buy from them, like Super Back to the Future 2 for the Super Nintendo. They had new translations of Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, and I was dying to get my hands on a new translation of Part 4, which is my favorite game in the series. They had Shin Megami Tensei for the Super Nintendo, as well as like Clock Tower, which I was dying to get my hands on. And when it comes to like Nintendo games, they had Corcoran and New Ghostbusters 2, and there was like a Splatterhouse game that they had made, which was like super deformed. I think it was called Splatterhouse SD. There was so much stuff, and playing this just really upsets me because now I know I can't get anything else from them. But maybe I'll find some on eBay or something. I'm sure the prices will be jacked up on that. I can't wait. But as it is, Firemen is a quality game. I highly recommend it, and maybe someday someone will get their hands on the sequel that was released in Japan and release that one over here now. Can only hope. So yeah, it's a quality game. Pick it up if you can. So, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. I love hearing from everybody. If you have any ideas for episodes of the show, what you want me to review, talk about, rant on, whatnot, let me know. I'm open to every suggestion. So until next time, I am Chris, the old-ass retro gamer, signing off.